Hi, I am a therapist and I'm doing this thing where I'm interviewing people about mental health. Do you have a couple minutes for me to interview you?
Sure.
Would you mind if I ask you some questions about mental health, emotional intelligence, that kind of thing? Is it okay if I use it for my channel on YouTube, social media?
Sure.
What's your name?
Mark.
Mark, I'm Wes.
Hi, Wes.
Are you a New Yorker?
I am now.
Okay,
I've been
cool.
for 3 years, yeah.
3? Nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to start broad and then I'll probably just ask you some questions about
Sure.
your own experiences. And then I do like to throw in a little bit of like an EQ test. So
Okay.
sometimes I will invite you, you don't have to do it, but I'll invite you to kind of pause our cognitive exchange to notice what's happening in more of the limbic system and like the emotional terrain together.
Sure.
But I'll start kind of general with you. When you think of mental health, what do you think about? What is mental health to you?
It's important. That's number one. I think it's as important as physical health. I think that circumstances in the world make it more challenging, as we've seen in the last decade. And I think a lot of people don't pay attention to it enough.
I'm interested in your perspective of, because you mentioned the last decade, and you've seen it.
Sure.
One or two, maybe.
Yeah. I think the political turmoil in the world, not just
In the
here,
last decade, yeah.
has
What's the
made
impact?
Sure. And I watch my children, I watch children of friends of mine, and larger, and they're not sure what to do, and as we see mental health causing more problems with the gun control, etc. I mean, there's a trickle down effect of what's okay and what's not okay.
From a high level perspective, what is mental health to you?
Mental health is taking care of your well-being.
What is emotional intelligence to you?
Being aware of having to take care of your emotional well-being.
Yeah.
I think of your mental health. I think a lot of people don't understand that or take it seriously. And I have my Elvis is getting their PsyD right now. So everything from them is always based around what they're learning, not necessarily what is needed. Does that make sense?
What they're say that
Well,
again.
it's about what they're learning. So what they're learning, they spit out without
Your child, your kid.
without the sense of impact or a broader understanding.
Can you give me an example?
Have you done self-care lately? Because that's what they learned
That's
in
what
class.
they learn, kind of like
Correct.
conceptually,
Yes.
but they're missing something.
They're missing all the parts that go to it. You don't just go to something like, you're doing self-care. I think there's a lot of, why would you ask the person that? I live by a mentality of what's the gain with everything I do. On 99% of the time, I take a pause beforehand, which I think is important. And I think that with emotion, going back to your question about emotional intelligence, not to get off track, is I think a lot of people don't have it.
What's to gain with emotional intelligence?
What's the gain is you become more self-aware so that you're able to take care of yourself, because at the end of the day, we can take care of one person, and that's ourselves.
Mark, how do you take care of yourself?
Oh, I do a lot. I was just trying to go see another show on Broadway.
You came from one?
No,
or
I was trying to get a discount ticket. I have a bunch of apps, but
did you get it or
no?
okay.
I was looking for Godot, and I tried.
Okay.
But
that's a type of.
That's one of the things I'll do for self-care. I get a lot of massages. Because you can't focus on anything else except you're on a table, and so that for me is a lot of self-care, because I have ADHD, so my mind, and the monkey mind at night, etc. goes. So massages help to focus time and energy just in that one place for that hour and a half, what have you. So I'll do a lot of that for self-care. I go to the gym. I'm at the gym, anywhere from 4 to 6 times a week. because that's important. Because I do believe that physical health helps your mental health. You know.
So mental containment and the massages. There's a lot of physical prioritization that I'm hearing you name.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
massages are physical. The gym is physical. Moving.
Yeah, there's all sorts of attachment styles, as you know, and there's all
Now
sorts
you're talking
of,
my language.
right? And there's all sorts of, love languages. And
what are your
mine is touch.
touch is your primary love language?
Yeah.
Physical touch.
Yeah.
Attachment style, how does that come in?
Attachment style has changed. It used to be anxious, preoccupied, and now I'm secured with slightly anxious, but not preoccupied anymore.
How did you change that, Mark?
I worked hard
What did you do? What does one do
to change
their attachment style to secure their attachment style? Or what did you do, I guess?
Well, one was being aware of it. I had no idea what attachment styles were, so I took this attachment style quiz, and that was 2 years ago. And when I came out as anxious, preoccupied, I was like, what does that mean?
So you had to learn about.
I learned about it, and then it was flipping because I'm secure in all the other aspects of my life. And when I moved here and finding a girlfriend or going out, that's where I became very anxious and preoccupied because there's a lot of the women in New York are different than LA. LA is very spread out. New York is very condensed, so there's more opportunities to meet a woman who will be attracted to you. But if you're anxious and then you meet someone and you get preoccupied with them, that doesn't help you out at all.
So this is the kind of stuff
with them.
Right,
Yeah.
and this is the kind of stuff I work with my clients on.
Right.
And you're saying I was aware.
Yes.
Took the test. I was aware.
Yeah, and then it was about changing it.
How did you change it? What were the things you did, or what would you tell someone?
Well, the funny thing is, I worked with dating coaches.
You worked
with dating coaches.
Wow.
Yeah.
What did you take away from them?
I took away a lot of the exercises that they gave me, and realizing that I could translate everything else that I do in my life into, my search for, finding someone here.
Are you saying like you could sort of map over the securities that you felt in these other parts of your life?
That's correct. You can move. I became a believer that you can shift things from one part of your life to another because it's all part of you. And once I realized that, it all kind of clicked.
Okay, here's an EQ part. If we pause the cognitive explaining together, when you reflect on what you did, because that's no small feat.
Right.
Securing your attachment style, it's a big deal in my business.
Yes.
When you think about yourself doing that, what do you feel inside in this moment as you and I kind of reflect on that together?
Wow. Without taking in regards to what happened this week.
Yes,
I'm going to take this week out of it, of what I've been through this week.
Yeah.
It feels good because I know that I'm able to do what I want to do, and I'm in control.
So when you say it feels good, specifically, practically, what is feeling good right now? Like somatically or like physiologically? What is?
I stand up straighter. I mean, if that makes sense.
It does.
I stand up straighter. I have no problem looking people in the eye. I'm not a bar guy. But I think
you're not a what?
A bar guy.
A bar guy.
No. To meet people, I don't do that.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Got you.
I think it changes the whole. The thing is now how to use. How can I explain on the EQ level? It's helped me sleep better. I have long-term sleep issues. But
and it's affected that.
Yeah. So knowing that, I've changed certain things in lifestyle to mitigate other parts where I go, that doesn't need to be a part of me anymore. So
I'm noticing in myself, I feel like I'm getting to know you a little more. So I'm feeling a little like closer to you. Like there's a kind of, I have just a fuller sense of you. You're kind of becoming more dimensional in my eyes. And I'm trying to track what's happening inside of me. I'm feeling kind of moved by the work that you've done and by the fact that you're sharing that with me right now. It feels meaningful to me, and I'm feeling that kind of inside of myself. What happens inside of you when I share that?
That felt great.
Yeah, how do you know it felt?
Well, I mean, you just feel it, but it gives a sense of
Describe that?
It feels good. It props me up.
Tell me more.
It props me up. I mean, when you're propped up, you want to do more. You want to go out. You want to do things because, self-validation is one thing. Another person recognizing what you've done is another. So, for example, in my line of work and what I'm doing right now, I'm getting a lot of validation from other people for something I should have done 35 years ago. But I'm doing it now, and it's been great.
Yeah, how does that feel?
Fantastic. It's from everyone from people I know to strangers. So it's a really exciting pivot moment in my life. And same with and that was the same thing with when I moved here 3 years ago, and the first 6 months were very frustrating because I was like, what's going on? I don't understand.
Right.
And then 6 months later, I hooked up with the dating coaches, and I was able to put perspective on it that I didn't have, because no one can have 100% perspective on everything in the world or everything in their life.
I'm getting the sense that piece was a big shift for you.
Huge. I went on 150 dates in 1 year. 100 of them were first dates.
And was it in the span of those
1 year?
Was it in the span of that 1 year of 150 dates that you were getting coaching, that you were doing that work to
That's
secure?
Correct.
I think I'm feeling a lot of respect right now,
Thank
Mark.
you.
I think
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I feel. It's a lot of respect for you. I think.
Thank you.
How are you feeling?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we hang out there for a second?
Sure.
This is kind of
Sure.
There's a connection. There's a thing
Sure.
happening. You and I are sharing. I don't know if you do this much, but this feels important to me, and it would be interesting to show people. I don't know what it is to meet someone and
absolutely
share something really important like that.
Yeah,
I'm feeling moved. I don't know. Do you see
Yes, I do.
Yeah. What are you seeing? I'm so curious.
I see
what
it because we're strangers.
Yeah.
And that's one of the great things and sad things about New York City. And the great thing is you meet strangers everywhere, but a lot of times the strangers are like this. They don't look into your eye because there's a fear that people have a lot of times of looking in someone in the eye, especially in New York City. You go to small towns in the South, everyone will look in your eye and say hello to you. They say that New Yorkers are friendlier than LA people. I have to agree. But the concept of nowadays, because we have these infamous things, everyone's like this. And to get people to interact in real life is a challenge nowadays.
Why did you stop and talk to me?
Because you asked me and I said, sure, why not? It's been one of those weeks. I mean, and I'll, and you seem fine to talk to.
Thank you.
Yeah, the microphone thing on. You look.
This thing.
Yeah, thing. You were doing something.
I was doing
that
something.
was fine.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by attachment.
Yeah.
And what I know about attachment is it's not just between romantic partners. It's also something that you have with when you're born, your primary caregiver,
That's
your siblings, your friends, your family. You and I have an attachment right now.
Right.
And I'm curious, when you talk about this, we're such the opposite of this right now, you and I
Correct.
are. What are you aware of in this moment in terms of our attachment or your attachment style
That's
right
good.
now?
You're my new friend.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah. That's where, again, the secure, if someone was insecure, they would have walked away from you. If someone, was anxious, they would have gone, no, and then that.
I've gotten some of that today.
I was like, yeah, sure. I'm sure you got a lot of that.
So you feel secure in that way when you say yeah, I'll talk to you.
Absolutely.
And you're sharing something really deep with me. Like your experience, this monumental shift.
You got
for
me on a good week.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad. I want to share this with people. I want people to hear about your experience. I mean, talk about attachment. Mark, so many of us are like, I know exactly what it is to be anxious, preoccupied, or anxious avoidant. Why do I do this when I like someone, I pull away. When I like someone, I just obsess.
Correct.
What would you want to say, like if there were people here kind of like taking in your story, resonating with what you're sharing right now, is there something you would want to impart to them? Like if you could look somebody in the eye who's like, man, this sounds really...
It's never too late. You know, a lot of people don't know how old I am, but it's never too late. And I've been married, I have kids, you know, etc. But it's never too late to do anything you want to do. Whatever it may be, whether it's a personal relationship, whether it's a business situation, whether it's friendships. You know, it's like when I moved here, I was saying there's something missing. And it wasn't about a relationship with a woman, it wasn't. And I finally discovered after about a year that I had a group of male friends in LA and we'd play poker once a month. Now you may think, you know, but you take it for granted, right? You take the male friendships for granted. And I was trying to figure out what was missing for me in New York. And it was male friendships. And I was into the same thing. So what's happened in the last 2 weeks? When I made that realization a while ago, I was in a relationship with a woman for the past year plus. And during the last couple of weeks, I started all of a sudden making these male friends, but it becomes exponential. It's just like dominoes. You start to make one, then all of a sudden someone else wants to hang out with you. Someone called me and said, hey, I want to be your theater buddy because I want to go to the theater as well. I see you're always at the theater. Someone else wants to play, you know, and it all of a sudden just started to happen. But I think it's what you put out there, and that it finally comes to fruition.
Could you expound a little bit on that? Because I think there's this whole thing right now about male loneliness.
Yes. Oh, without hands down.
So could you expound a little bit on like put yourself out? Like what did you do to go from I don't have many male friends here in New York?
I told people. It was kind of that simple. It's like there's one thing really, really missing, and that is male friendships. And I have my two of my best friends. One lives in Brooklyn, one lives in Connecticut. One's from home and one's from college. And then I have a couple other male friends from college here, and that was it. And that it was very hard to being a single male at my age, making male friends. And so a friend of mine said, there's a guy I know, he just moved to New York, he's a documentary filmmaker. I think the two of you could be good friends.
So this person knew you were like looking for...
Yes. So we had a coffee and it was like, we're new friends. Then I'm working with a director, producer right now, and he's the one who said, hey, you see a lot of theater. I need to see more. I'm happy to be your theater buddy.
Is that hard to kind of like...
Men are very hard to make friends at this age, hands down. Because most are married, right? Or have a significant other. And that becomes, it becomes a tricky thing. And even though I was in a relationship for the past year plus, which takes a lot of time and energy and effort and everything else, I started to really focus on what was, okay, I can do that. What's the weakness in making male friends at my age? And it isn't that I have to say, hey, you're not the usual type of person I'd be friends with, because that happens to you. Get the strange, weird people
as
well, right?
Yeah, not your cup of tea.
Not your cup of tea and stuff. So there's a little bit of a selection process that goes on.
Right.
But the other part is, you know what? If someone's reaching out, I did a study a number of years ago on myself. And the thing is, I said, I'm going to stop reaching out to people. Because I believed that I was reaching out to people 95% of the time, friendships, and I was getting reached back 5% of the time.
Interesting.
That was in my head. So that's what I thought was happening. So I stopped reaching out, and then I started recording down, this person texted me, this person called me, this person asked, what are you doing, next week, and this and that, because I was single for a long time in LA after my divorce, etc. And I had a long-term girlfriend there, but still, that was before I hooked up with my long-term girlfriend in LA. In between, there was a lot of, as you call it, male loneliness. And I took it as people didn't want to have plans with me.
That was your interpretation.
Correct. So once I took a look at this, I realized that a lot of people were reaching out to me.
Once you tracked the hard data,
Correct.
you were able to
No, I was okay.
shift your.
Yes.
No, I was okay.
I was okay.
Interesting.
And and that's what interesting. In New York, there are a couple of people I've known peripherally through the years who live here, who are guys who are single like me, my age, and some are younger. And I'm nothing, and they'll, hey, how you doing? I'm like, good. And they're like, what's going on? And I'll say, and I'll be the one to instigate, why don't we go grab coffee? You want to grab a bite? I have someone who literally every 4 to 6 weeks will send me a text or email, can you do lunch today? And if I'm not, I make it the next day or whatever, because it's important.
You prioritize that.
Prioritize, yeah. And so that's, and most men don't, because we get settled into either our lives with whoever our partner is, male, female, they, them, whatever it may be nowadays. Yeah. And we don't prioritize our own, when we talk about mental health of just, having male bonding relationships that are new at this age. Now I have 6 best friends, 6 male best friends. One's my work best friend, one my growing up best friend, one where I live best friend, 2 from college, and my high school best friend. As I call them, my pallbearers if I die first, right? And people say, how do you have 6?
That's a lot.
It's a lot
of best friends.
I said, they're my best friends.
Pretty wealthy.
They're I feel that. But again, I had to recognize it. Once I realized, I have a friend of mine, he lives in LA. He comes here 3 to 4 times a year on business. And every single time he comes, he'll reach out to me and say, let's have dinner, let's have lunch. And I can't even tell you how many years since we've known each other, he won't let me pay for a meal.
He's generous, he invests in you.
And as my son said, that's how he's showing you how much, because that's his
love language, maybe.
Correct.
Or he's
his love language is, I'm picking up the tab, you don't worry about it.
And do you feel that love?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had an incident a little bit 3.5 years ago. They thought I had a heart attack.
Oh my gosh.
And I didn't.
Oh.
So, but I didn't take the ambulance. I had my son come pick me up at urgent care.
Okay.
And I gave him my phone. I said, you know who to text. So he texted one person from each facet of my life.
Wow.
So that they could then, spread out if necessary. Luckily, it wasn't a heart attack. It was,
Good.
Something else that was easy to.
But that support system was in place. I mean, what an incredible thing.
I didn't know it until I gave the phone to my son, and he says, "Oh, this person's life," and it was with that.
Yeah.
You learn a lot.
Yeah.
In those instances as well.
Yeah.
Of what your value, and that's what a lot of men might, I believe, don't understand what their value is to other people in the world, unless they are, quite honestly, really financially successful.
Right. Status, money.
Yeah. Correct.
Then I'm valuable.
Correct. So if you don't have that, I've done very well for myself. I'm not. I joke I live on Billionaires Row, but I'm in the thousandaire part.
Nice.
But that, so they're secure in so many ways that and they may have the trophy wife or the real the girl they met in high school and they're still married, or and that's great. But then there's the rest of us, and if you're not in a solid relationship or with those friends you've been with the whole time, and you're popping down, technically in your city. Luckily, I went to college here, and I have friends. I do have family here and stuff as well. It's a challenge, and the male loneliness thing, because that's what I talk about a lot with friends of mine, and I have a lot of female friends, and the whole concept of how in New York City you can never be bored,
right?
But you can be very lonely,
right? Isn't that something?
It's a very lonely city, but you can't be bored.
And did you have an episode for yourself when you were here, when you weren't bored but you were lonely?
Oh, sure, I get lonely all the time.
You still do.
Yeah. But then I think, okay, how can I, what can I do to change that?
Yeah.
And sometimes you can't, but then you just accept it. You know, you say, all right,
How do
I'll
you
be
do
lonely
that?
for a little bit. Yeah. But
Yeah, it's like that. It's like that "I'm okay" thing again that you did
Correct.
with the data.
correct.
And when I think about insecurity or security versus insecurity, there is a kind of internal "I'm okay."
Yeah.
I'm lonely and I'm okay. Or
That's correct.
there's people reaching
That's
out.
correct.
I'm okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I just came from. I had a late lunch with one of my best friends who came in Brooklyn, and then after it was like I have nothing to do tonight, so I was like, I was checking, trying to get a ticket to a show or whatever. Finally, I'm not gonna pay him $17 for waiting for Dada.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I offer them a lot less than they say no.
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna walk home, walk my dog, and I don't watch very much news.
Yeah, there's such a contentness in your eyes, and you have such an ease about you, like physically. I'm noticing myself kind of joining you. It's kind of contagious. Like I just feel more comfortable in my body, and it's nice to just kind of hear you reflect. And we're sort of in this. We're not really superficial right now. I feel like you and I are kind of in a depthy place in it. For me, I feel okay being here with you. How is that to hear me share?
That's great. I feel okay being here with you.
Yeah. Thank you for your time, Mark.
Absolutely.
Thank you for giving us a glimpse into this part of your life. My hope is that there are people that can take something away, whether it's about attachment or security or. It's never too late. That's a really powerful message.
It's never too late. And I had to be reminded of that again yesterday when I was pitching a theater owner in Chicago my project, and he was like, I love this because you're pivoting and you're doing it right. And it was, he's pretty much a stranger. I've had one Zoom with him before. And he said, and with that, he said, I want to see all the projects. That we had talked about. And that meant more to me yesterday than anything else. Seeing my friend today, and when this off, I'll tell you. When I saw him today, because I reached out to him, I guess on Thursday, are you back in town? Good to see you. And said, how about Saturday at 2:30? And it was great, but it was also a validation of our history. We go back over 40 years. Almost 50 years.
Wow.
So you have those connections. And when I reached out to him, he really wanted to see me because he had something important to tell me. And it was a striking conversation. And he said, Mark would understand.
Oh, wow.
What he's going through. Like I was one of the few people he knew that would totally understand the experience he's going through. And he was right.
Sounds like you have a good connection, like a strong connection with him. My last question is kind of a meta question. How was this conversation for you?
That was great. It was very refreshing.
Really?
Nice way to, go home now and say, I had this great conversation with a guy on the street.
What made it refreshing? I'm curious.
Just because it was unexpected. And unexpected moments, I believe, are what life is made of. Life isn't made of days, minutes, hours, months. It's made up of moments. And I'll be hard pressed to forget this moment for a long time, if not ever. And that's what life is made of. So, I can go and say, I got stopped on the street. I could tell this story. And that's a great, I'm a storyteller. And that's a great story. But it's also what's important about life. And a lot of people miss that. They're like, oh, the big thing. I'm like, it's those little moments. And I wrote on Facebook the other day, because a friend of mine does something called Wednesday Wonder every week. And I said, I'm going to steal it after all they do. So I stole it from her, and I said, and only one person responded, which was interesting, because I got a lot of responses. People didn't know what to make of it. I said, if you had to pick a moment from your week that you'll remember the rest of your life, what will it be?
I love that question.
Only one person who I go back to 6th grade, 5th grade with. She said, I love this question. I need to ponder it for a while.
Yeah, it's a big one.
And someone else said, my parents' death. Because I guess they lost a parent this past week. And so that's what they'll remember, that moment of being with their, and pretty soon they were with their mother, father, and mother. Yeah, so, but I think I'll pose it again next week. I'll pose it until I get more answer.
Well, I'm going to remember this moment. Thank you for writing this story with me today.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel touched by your sharing and your connection. Thank you so much, Mark. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Want this?
I'll take it.